Welcome back to day 6 of Gatekeeper Media's New Year's resolutions. The last couple days we've talked about where your disc finishes or starts for a pretty open shot. Let's advance that concept to thinking about the middle of the shot. Go to a field or course where there's an intermediate obstacle that you have to beat. That can be a light pole, a field goal, or like what I've done here, a tee shot that requires you to hit a gap with a particular angle and location. If I don't make this gap, I'm out of bounds. Therefore, that's the critical point of the throw. I'm going to envision what action and speed and angle I want on the disc at that location. And then everything leading up to that point, I'm going to try to set the disc up to do exactly that. This is about envisioning a particular thing that you want your disc to do and making it so. This tee is an example of a backhand hyzer where there's a ton of room out to the right, but a set of trees that I need to split in order to get back safe to the fairway on the left. This one, I want to just beat the second tree in this set. That's going to require more hyzer and a slightly more inside lane to start. We can advance this concept by using a flippier disc, which is going to require more of a technical angle. That's something that guys like Kevin Jones do really well, to throw a steep hyzer that's flipping up and pushing. It's a great way to get a little extra distance out of a hyzer. So from the tee, there's a ton of open space. And at the landing zone, there's also a ton of open space. But this tree and this tree define a gap that is really the choke point of this hole. So about 35 feet up, straight from here, is the point that I'm envisioning in my head in order to hit that. If I focus on having the right action, speed, and angle at that location, then I can pretty well count on this shot being a success. Let's do the same thing with a forehand gap, and I'll throw a backhand turnover as well. Once again, I'm not worried about where the disc lands or where it starts. I'm concerned about the 1 second of flight at that point in the sky or in this gap that I'm envisioning between two obstacles. As far as I'm concerned, that's a success. It beat both trees on the front and back side of the gap. So that was in the gap, but it was hung out a little bit too wide to start. Consequently, at the spot that I'm envisioning, it was already on the ground. I want this disc to be flying and gliding on a fade at that point. The idea of what we're trying to do here is find an aiming point in the middle of the shot that your disc can break just in front of or just behind. Because a lot of times, you don't have a lot of reference points in the open. Or if you're in the woods, you might not be able to see your landing zone, but you can see that choke point of the hole pretty clearly. You can also complicate this shot by using a flippy disc on a hyzer or throwing a turnover shot. Something that isn't just a hyzer that you can rely on stability and angle. You win the game when you can select an intermediate aiming point, discern what action you want your disc to have at that location, and then reduce your focus to just the little time increment when the disc is getting to that location. If you can do that, it's a huge victory for your precision and consistency.